welcome to another episode of Life Lessons in Bon Jovi Songs. And today we're at the first outtake of this album, New Jersey, but it's not an outtake, and it was also written way before this album was made. So I think it's a great way to kind of like make the transition from covering the 12 songs on this album to all the outtakes that we have from this album. So this is kind of like a bit the odd one out. Is that is that the right wording? I don't know, but it's kind of like it's it's a little bit a strange one because it is a Bon Jovi song, but it's not even an official outtake because it was not written particularly for an album. So let's go. um, the song is "We All Sleep Alone," and we know it from in the but from Cher because she recorded it for her album in 1987, and it was actually her comeback album. So she was a very successful artist. She had been a successful artist with her partner Sonny since the 60s, and then she became a solo artist. And after that, in the early 80s, she became a successful actress. So she had actually not recorded any songs or any albums for 5 years, had not performed either. So this was her comeback album, and there were two songs that were produced or written by Jon Bon Jovi, Richie Sambora, Desmond Child. Desmond Child was the one who had written songs for them and with them for the Slippery When Wet album. So the two songs were Bang Bang, which was a re-recording from the 1966 hit that her partner Sonny Bono had written at the time. And this is very interesting because Bang Bang, the song Bang Bang, was also performed by Bon Jovi on their very first tour, their very first concerts in maybe even 1983, the one concert that they gave then. Otherwise, it would be 1984. They had a song called "Shot Through the Heart," and they had this beautiful a cappella intro from Bang Bang. So that is very, really great to see that Jon Bon Jovi, I think he was at the time 22 years old, and singing an a cappella version of Bang Bang, the 1966 Sonny and Cher song. And then now it is 1987. Cher wants to have a comeback album, and she works with Richie Sambora, Desmond Child, and that same Jon Bon Jovi. Now a few years later, and a world famous superstar. Like he was the biggest rock star um, on the planet, or Bon Jovi was the biggest rock band on the planet at the time, making him as the lead singer the biggest star. So, so there was a lot of connections between Cher and Jon Bon Jovi, or the band Bon Jovi, even before this collaboration started. And there would be one very important connection after, because Cher was married at the time of the recording, and about 18 months later or something, she divorced from him, or a year later. I have the dates here. No, about 18 months. I would say about 18 months. Later, she divorced him and got in a relationship with Richie Sambora, and that was, I think, I mean, there's a romance from John Bon Jovi that I'm pretty fond of that happened in the 80s, and not gonna mention it here because this is not that video, but um, I think after that one, this one would be my favorite because oh, they were so cute together. You know, Richie Sambora, the the young guitarist from the band Bon Jovi, and Cher, this woman really on top of her game. You know, having this super big career as a musician dating back all the way to the 60s when she started having like an Oscar. I think she even won an Oscar for her acting in the early 80s. And then now she has her comeback album, and then she has her divorce, and then she has a younger lover. I mean, what's not to like? So that connection was kind of like still waiting to happen at the time. This collaboration happened. So we're in 1987. Bon Jovi has made this album in 1986, and in 1987 they're the biggest band in on the world, and they're touring nonstop, and everybody wants them. And but it would not be until 1988 before they would hit the studio and make this one. So the collaboration with Cher for these two songs, the re-recording of Bang Bang, as well as the new song We All Sleep Alone, that was really here in the middle. It was between the 1986 album Super One Wet and the New Jersey album. So yeah, I have a photo here of the three of them. Really nice with here John Bon Jovi, here Cher, and here Richie Sambora. So we have, I'm not going to cover every Bon Jovi song that they wrote for other artists, but they have performed this one once. So that makes it a Bon Jovi song, and that's the reason why I am including it in this series. And the performance that we have is from the 10th of January 1990, which was really at the end of the New Jersey Syndicate Tour. So there was about 14 months of touring, depending on how you count, because at the end of 1990 there was kind of like a little extra concerts tours. But the main body of the tour was from I think like November or late October 1988 all the way to I think early March 1990. So that's like 14 months of touring, 15 months even, and they would end in South America, so early 1990, that's South America. Those were like, I don't think about 10 concerts or something. But before that, they did a European tour, and that ended in London. In London had one gig at the Hammersmith Odeon. I don't hope I pronounced that correctly. So they had a lot of multiple concerts in England, multiple concerts in London even. But this one was really the back end of the tour leg that was Europe. So just imagine, you've been on the road for way over a year, and it's January, and on the 10th of January, you have your final concert in Europe, and you have only one leg to go. It's the second time you are in Europe as a band, because Europe was also the very first leg of the tour in late October and November from 1988. So just imagine, late 1988, you have started your tour here in Europe, then all 1989, you're on the road and you're you're seeing the whole world. It was the year where they went to Russia and had I think it was called Peace Festival. I don't know the whole name by heart. So like 1989 was absolutely crazy. And then December and then January, that was when they had kind of like these concerts in Europe and in England. Um, and there you are on the 10th of January 1990, and you're playing the Hammersmith Odeon, and you're throwing in this song that you wrote for Cher, and yeah, it's very much still in the midst of it, for Bon Jovi, because they still had that final leg in South America coming up. Also for their relationship to Cher, because um, uh, Richie was having his, was it then that they had it? Or, yeah, he was in the relationship with Cher at the moment they recorded it, or not recorded, the moment they performed this one. Um, and yeah, so it was very much, it was all still going strong. It was all still happening. It's very much kind of like uh, uh, straight from the horse's mouth is the expression, I think. It was so, there was so much going on, and they were so in it, and we're here. It's now 2026, and you're looking back at this, and so we're like, I don't know, like 36 years later, and we're looking back at this, and you can see like, oh, and this happened then, and this, and and Rich was having his wonderful like 6 month affair with Cher at the time. They were in it. It must have been so overwhelming, and overwhelming like in a negative way, because they were the tour had been way too long. It had been way too intense, with a lot of rest days, extra bookings for extra concerts, stuff like that. Um, but also really positive, because both, if we look at the connection Cher and Richie Sambora, they both really look back at that relationship with so much fondness and so much love. And Richie Sambora would say that living together with Cher they must have spent significant time together at some intervals, or there must have been intervals where they spent more time together. He said living with her really, really gave me that confidence of being my own person, being my own musician, and it was what sparked for me the idea that I wanted to do my solo album, which he did. So it was really that moment where Richie Sambora was away from the band and away from John Bon Jovi, and he was living with Cher, who was also an artist, who's also a musician, and where he really came into his own, you know, artistic autonomy, you could say. And so there is just, yeah, it was just a really beautiful, beautiful time period if we look back at it. So, yeah, the 10th of January 1990 in Hammersmith Odeon, they performed "We All Sleep Alone," and yeah, and that means that the song had to be covered here in this series. So this series is called Life Lessons in Bon Jovi Songs. So that means that I always spend a lot of time researching the video, like, okay, what are the interesting stories that are connected to this song. But yeah, then I'm here and I'm like, oh, now I have to make up the life lesson. So what's the, what's the life lesson? Okay, be in it. Be in it. Enjoy the moment, even when it's a lot. You have a new lover and you're also in the biggest band in the universe, and you have a grueling touring schedule, and you're also sparked with the idea of, oh, I want to make a solo album. Enjoy the moment. Really enjoy the moment, because it's moments like this or that will make you look back in 36 years thinking, wow, that was something. That was something. So, yeah, that's the life lesson. Next time, I'm going to do one of the official outtakes. So, outtake means a song is written for an album, it's recorded in some kind of demo form or sometimes fully produced, and ultimately does not end up on the album. That's the definition of an outtake. So I'm going to do an outtake, Rosie, and not because Rosie is in any way, anointed to be the first, but because Rosie is also a song that's very much connected to Richie Sambora, and that would actually end up also on his solo album. So I thought that would make a good bridge from this Cher song into the outtakes. So if you're curious about the outtake Rosie, or if you're curious about the other songs that are coming up, the link to the playlist with all the outtakes that Bon Jovi has ever made is below in the description box. It's called something like Rolling List of Bon Jovi Outtakes. Okay, so that was it, and see you next time. Bye!